Welcome to Alice in Borderland. I have literally no idea what I'm getting myself into. I don't know the premise of the show. I only know that it's located in Japan. It's the only thing I know about it. So I gathered that he likes cars, is very into video games, and knows geometry well. Fuck you. Like, shut the fuck up. It probably was way better then. Thanks for bringing it up. So is this like a slice of life kind of show? Like just about him dealing with, you know, being kind of a fuck up, or... It's a little heterosexual for me, but I get it. As if he did not know what was going on there. Oh shit. Okay, I definitely saw it. I kind of like the style of the show so far. Nice. Damn, that's fucked up. Oh, so she's like a religious nut? That makes it even worse that he's giving away his money for that. What is that game? That actually looks like it would be fun. Well. Only poor because his mom is bleeding him dry. I really like the style of the show so far. Like, this is really fun. I like all three characters already. I don't know Japanese cities very well, so I don't know if this is Tokyo or somewhere else. They're adorable. I love the friendship. Wait, is this a zombie show? Aww. I wonder why he thinks that. Aww. It's cute because you can tell just like how much he cares about him. He probably really means that too. He's like, you have the potential to be someone. I'm having a hard time figuring out like the tone of the show. Like, is it a comedy? Is it just a straight drama? I'm enjoying it nonetheless. They probably look so stupid, but it's cute. I knew it. Way to go, you idiots. The mood just got weirdly kind of sinister in a subtle way. Cops don't look like they're going after them, but it looks like they are going out for something. They're a very lovable bunch of idiots. Okay, so the show is not a slice of life or a comedy. Something very weird and freaky is going on. The fuck did I get myself into on this show? It's really quiet. I don't like that. It can't be zombies. If it was zombies, there'd be people screaming, you'd be hearing gunshots, like it'd be absolute mayhem. And not a single person in here. Can someone start talking? The silence is absolutely killing me. Did like the fucking rapture occur? What is going on? I mean, on the plus side, they have each other. It's not like one of them is here completely by themselves. I wonder how long they had to shut down like the city streets to be able to film all this stuff. Ah, and that was just the cold open? Very nice. I see a lot of stuff referencing like playing cards, which I also am like, I don't know how that relates to anything. Like all the food is still steaming and everything. It's a really cool visual. Just an empty cafe, all the food untouched. I can only imagine what would be going through your head if this actually happened to you. I genuinely have no idea what I would do. Very ominous. I'm impressed so far that the show has managed to have some good dramatic moments, some good comedic moments, and now some very like tense, ominous moments. To be honest, I don't know if I would split up either. Like, who's to say the others don't vanish while you're off on your own, you know? I'd be way too afraid. to be completely alone in this scenario. I suppose that's another question I have as well. Like, is this another place, or did everyone else go someplace else, you know? Aw. I don't want that. I mean, hey, you have each other. Oh. The game will commence in a moment. Well, I don't like the sound of that. I really don't want to see these three have to, like, turn against each other in order to, you know, like, win whatever game is being proposed here. It's all presented in such a nonchalant, not exactly subtle, but not exactly flashy way either. That, in and of itself, is kind of unsettling. Well, I mean, just go for it, I guess. This slow build-up is killing me, dude. I mean, you made it this far, just grab one and see what happens. Oh, shit. Okay, so you have to follow the rules of the game. Understood. It's actually really nice of her to explain that. Like, she could have easily not. Like, just take a step back, please. You're making me nervous. That's your own fault. If a whole room of people is like, hey, stop, stop, then don't continue. Yeah, I'm with her. She's clearly done this before, so might as well follow her lead. I love this music right here. 2 minutes. Well, get out of the elevator. Let's figure this out. 2 minutes is not that much time. Well, the obvious answer would be to pick the door to live. Oh, he's so adorable. Alright, then you go open it. What is this? What is this? Pick a door. Pick a door. You probably die. Pick a door. Oh no, don't die. Please don't die. Oh, damn. Alright, it wasn't that door. Pick the other one. Let's go. Shit. Holy shit. Hurry up. Oh, shit. So we got ourselves a nice little death game. Are you even gonna have enough sacrifices to make it all the way through? I can't exactly blame you. Yeah, someone better open a door. There's no time to fuck around. I don't like this game. This is very much just a 50-50 chance of dying or not dying. Please don't die. Please don't die. Sounds fair. Let's go. Let's go. Everybody get in the room. It just keeps getting shorter. I'm really not seeing how you figure out this game. Oh. Oh, little brain blast. Sometimes you just need a little sense knocked into you. Well, it better hopes it is. Let's fucking go. It did set up the fact that he knows his BMWs right in the opening scene, too. Very, very smart. I never would be able to figure that out under pressure. Ah, okay. Make it through each one just in the nick of time. Oh no. Of course, I had to throw a wrench into it. Oh, that's right, you did. It's only helpful if it shows the inside of the room that the girl went into, though. Oh, it does, it does. Go, go, go. Oh, shit. 10 seconds, what the fuck? Let's go. Hell yes, let's go, let's go. And again, I really like that they used solid like puzzle logic to figure their way out. Or well, Arisu did for everyone else. Ooh. A 3-day visa. Interesting phrasing. And how do you do that? Shit. So you have to keep playing the games to extend your visa, or they just kill you. But there's also no end to the game for some reason. There must be an end to the game somehow. So there's a considerable amount of players here. Ooh, and who is this? She looks very cool. Ah, all right. That was a great first episode. That really hooked me, actually. So yeah, like I said, I think it was a great first episode. I'm really glad I went into it completely blind, because it was genuinely shocking to me to see that the show, you know, has the flip about, I don't know, like 10, 15 minutes in. And even once that happens, I still wasn't sure exactly what was going on, like what kind of weird dystopian genre we were approaching here. It wasn't until they reached the game that I was like, oh, it's like a death game thing. Which is why I'm sure people have made comparisons between this and Squid Game. Squid Game is another one I know very little about, but I do know it's a death game like setup. So I'll be curious to see how different they are from one another. And if they're very similar, I'll just end up giving the point to this show because this came out before Squid Game. I like that our main characters, for the most part, are all deadbeats, especially Arisu. Like, he straight up doesn't have a job at all. He's just playing video games at home. His brother calls him a parasite. His dad doesn't give a fuck about him. And I like that even though his family are really shitty about it, they're not exactly wrong. Like, they are clearly showing that Arisu doesn't seem to have any kind of ambitions in terms of like a job or making money of any kind. And to me, that makes him very relatable. There's a lot of people out there who don't know what they want to do with their lives, so they just want to do, you know, the things that make them happy. And in this case, you know, that's just video games and hanging out with his friends. Karuba, he's a little less relatable to me just because he's like the tough guy of the group, but he's equally, you know, like a fuck up. He was messing around with his boss's either wife or girlfriend and gets fired, you know, right off the bat. Chota seems like he's, you know, the sensitive kind of pushover of the group. He literally is giving a lot of money away to his mother. From what I gathered from it is she's not working currently because she's so devout to whatever religious following she's a part of. So he's supporting like the both of them essentially, which fucking sucks. Fuck that. But again, I think a lot of people can relate to that of, you know, being a bit of a pushover when it comes to your family. I mean, it seems like he's a bit of a pushover when it comes to like everything, which is also relatable for some people. But the three actors seem to have a lot of chemistry with each other. I genuinely believe that these three people are like best friends and have been for a really long time. I mentioned it during the reaction, but I really enjoy how the show seems to handle multiple tones really well. Like, the show begins with a slightly more dramatic scene of seeing Arisu and his family, then moves into something much more comedic when it's with him and all of his friends. And at that point, I thought it was like a slice of life, you know, just kind of a fun comedy show. But then as soon as they dip into a moment where the three of them are thrust into this new world, the tone shifts to be much more ominous and oppressive, and the game itself was extremely tense and intense. Considering this is the first episode and this is based off of a graphic novel, I guarantee the games are only going to get much more dangerous, much more insane as we go on. I kind of hope they don't get too insane. I'm okay with the show getting a little wacky, but I don't want it to get like cartoonish, I guess. Also mentioned it during the reaction, but I love that the way to solve this game was to realize that it's not just about luck. There is a mathematical approach you can take to it to turn your odds from, you know, 50-50 to 100%. You just need to figure out how to do that. Again, I would absolutely die in this scenario. There's no way I would figure that out. And like, I know a thing or two about cars, but I don't know that a BMW is exactly, what did he say, 4 meters something? So it seemed like his unique skills were what got them all to live. Which I think also makes the line from earlier in the episode when Karube was saying, you know, if there's a zombie apocalypse, I think you're the one who's going to live. At first, I didn't really understand why that was said, other than it being just like a sweet, endearing moment between two friends. But then the game actually happened, and I was like, oh, his intelligence and ability to, you know, solve a difficult puzzle with very minimal resources is a very handy survival tool. One that they all would have died without. So yeah, I think not only does the line make sense, but I agree with it. I think he really would be the one to survive out of everybody, even if he's not the most physically capable. I also really like the ending of the episode because it set up the fact that you can't just ignore the games unless you want to die. So you either have to, you know, take your chances with the game and maybe die, or don't play at all and definitely die. Which is a solid setup and premise for the whole thing. It makes sure that there is a constant ticking clock on every character's life, which increases the tension just by default. And it gives them an easy excuse to be like, here's, you know, 20 million different death games for you to be entertained with on the show. Like, it's really smart. It's a great setup. For them to end the episode like that, showing that, yeah, there actually are a lot of players here, you know, hiding somewhere in the shadows, and then specifically end on that new character who, I don't know who she is, but she's obviously important. It was great. It absolutely hooked me, and I'm assuming most other people who watched. Moving on to the technicals. How fun was the episode? I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10, actually. Even though the death game portion is extremely intense and, you know, makes you very worried about whether certain characters are going to make it or not, the creativity behind it is very entertaining, and it is kind of fun to see how Arisu actually solved the puzzle. And the comedy and drama bits of the episode, while certain moments being a little heavy, overall, it has a very fun and engaging tone to it, which I really liked. How important was the episode? Definitely 10 out of 10. It literally sets up the entire show, and sets it up very well, I might add. How cinematic was the episode? I'm gonna go with another 10 out of 10, actually. There are certain moments that I suppose you might argue would feel a little more television, like the texting montage, how they would kind of freeze frame on certain moments. But since it's not a common technique that they use on the show, it was literally only for that one scene. To me, it just seems like, oh, the show is very stylistic and creative. And some of the shots in this episode were gorgeous, of like a lone character or just a couple of them on a completely empty cityscape as the backdrop. Like, it just looked great. Even the very opening moments of the like hyper close-ups on Arisu while he's playing his game, I thought were very artistic, very cinematic. Overall, the show has a very professional feel. Music in the episode, it didn't stand out to me like the other things did, but I did think it was quite good. The emotional moments where Arisu and his friends are, you know, like dicking around in the middle of the, I don't know what the place is. I'm sure it's like a well-known place in Japan. It looks kind of like Times Square to me. But when they're, you know, just messing around there and it just has like the violins playing, I thought that was actually very beautiful. And when they're entering the elevator and they're about to start the game and the music is just building and building with this very ominous like bass tone, it was really good. So I'm going to go with a 9 out of 10. Effects. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 because for the most part, I thought the effects were quite good. The laser effect, even though it was like horrible to watch, I think it was really cool how they actually showed like both of the girls' eyes like go bloodshot and one like twist another direction. Like, it's really sick and twisted, but it's really detailed visual effects work. And I'm sure some of the backdrops and like settings had to have been virtually extended or some sort of effects to like remove people or like airplanes or something, and that was all done really well. But there were a few moments where they were standing against. But there were a few moments where there were some green screen moments that were like almost unbearably noticeable. Like, I will say, they were done in moments when the characters were small enough in shot that I don't think it would have gone noticed by everybody. But once you do notice it, it's a pretty glaringly bad green screen issue. So for those like 2 or 3 moments alone, it drops it down to an 8 out of 10 for me. Costumes and sets, I'll go with another 8 out of 10. I think the actual costumes that the characters are wearing very much exemplify their personalities and who they are as people. And as for sets, it seems like a majority is on location filming, which in and of itself is pretty difficult to do. The actual sets themselves, I mean, the most noticeable one is obviously the game where they're going through the many rooms, which is honestly really smart of them because they literally only had to build 2 rooms and just change the positioning of the camera and the characters and which door has the live or die poster on it, and just keep rotating those out while they go back and forth between the rooms. So that was a very smart money-saving way to do it, and the actual design of the rooms, I don't have any complaints about it. The simplistic design of it actually kind of added to the fear of it all. Like, to have something so sinister just be presented to you in such a mundane way. But I would argue it was almost a little too mundane. I would have liked a little bit more flair to it. Acting, honestly, I'm gonna go for another 10 out of 10. So far, the actors have all proven that they can do comedy, they can do drama, and they can do the really intense drama of like, oh my god, I'm gonna fucking die right now, and the sort of mental breakdown that a person goes through in a moment like that. Literally all 3 of the main characters, the girl as well, I don't know if you would consider her to be like part of the main group. I mean, it seems like she's, you know, joined up with them. I suppose we'll see as the show continues. But yeah, I think the acting from literally all of them was fantastic. Like, they were really nailing their performances. And as for pacing, I'm gonna go with a 9 out of 10, only because it was maybe just a tidbit on the slow side for me. It's an episode 1 though, it's meant to set things up, and they did go through an entire, you know, death game right off the bat, which I think was very smart to not save that for the second episode. That being said, I was never bored, even once during the episode. The slowest section, I think, was the moment they were either transported there or everyone else was taken away. I still don't know yet. And it's just them, you know, exploring this completely empty city. Like, it's meant to be a slow, quiet, tense moment, which it is. But if I had to nitpick out of everything in the episode, that was probably like the slowest moment. And that gives this episode a 9.1 out of 10, which I absolutely agree with because this was a fantastic first episode. I sincerely hope the show can keep it up as it continues. The whole death game thing, it is kind of iffy. You run the risk of it becoming pretty stale and boring quicker rather than sooner. You also run the risk of, if you remove the death game aspect from the show and it then becomes something else, you know, them going after whoever's in charge of this, and you run the risk of it becoming so different that the audience no longer likes it anymore. So honestly, it's pretty risky. It's a show I do not want to get my hopes up for because it could easily fail, but I kind of can't help it because this first episode was really, really good, and I want more than anything for this to just be another like top 10 show for me. So I will see you all in the next episode. I'll be very curious to see what the next death game they're gonna have to face is, what other mysteries might come into play here, and hopefully I won't have to see any of these main characters die, or at least for a long time. So I'll see you all next time. And that is about it.